there's a lot of restaurants around, so people choose every night where they want to go.
Right.
So for someone to walk into my door, it's like walking into my home. I feel honored that they're going to take the time to come and spend money and eat and give me an opportunity.
It's the experience.
To have a great experience in my restaurant. They could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I tell my staff that all the time. They don't have to come here, but they're coming here because of something special.
Right. Hey folks, and welcome to the Off Market Podcast. Me and my father are the hosts, Attilio and Victoria Adamo, and today we have the one and only, our favorite guest here, our favorite man.
Special guest.
It is Vittorio Lanni. From family recipes to culinary masterpieces, the Lanni's Cucina Verace with Vittorio Lanni. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So the real deal, that's what Verace means. The Cucina is the real deal. So when we get started, where you're located?
We're located at 645 Main Street in Sparkill, New York. Small, quaint town with a lot of restaurant culinary experience in that town.
It's true. It's like almost like Restaurant Row in a sense.
Yes.
And it's historic and beautiful and feels nice to walk around with family.
And Kim's not here, so kudos to her. She gets full credit for all the decorations and the attention.
She is amazing.
The most beautiful restaurant Kim created. It feels like better than a New York City lounge. It feels intimate. It feels like you're at a very high-end place, but also at home. So it's a really amazing vibe. But before we get into everything, let's tell everyone, obviously, I've known Lanni for the past few years, especially when him and Kim opened. I think I've had every celebration in my life, from birthdays to wedding celebrations there. I would have got married there if I could have. But my dad and Vittorio actually go way back. So
we go back to the high school years.
Yes, why don't you tell them?
Yes.
Two Italian boys from the Ridgefield, right? From Ridgefield. That's New Jersey.
Absolutely.
So we actually were about a year apart from each other, I think, right?
Yes, I believe maybe 2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
He's much younger.
Yep.
We actually knew each other, but we really didn't hang out. It was more so, I was a senior, I think, when you were a sophomore.
Yes. And
I really didn't meet up with you till about maybe 4 years ago. I was just telling him earlier before we started the podcast that I saw, actually it was a Facebook post where it says, I saw your name and said you got up in the restaurant. I'm like, oh my God, I remember this kid from high school. He's still a kid in my mind.
Yes.
And I said to my wife, we got to go. It's got to be great. And
that's when you first reconnected?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a Facebook
I think I may have called you direct.
Yes.
Because I DM'd you on Facebook and you said, yeah, and we made an appointment, and then it was great ever since. We've been a constant stand-in at your restaurant. I love the fact that maybe, I don't know, second or third time you were there, we walked in and we had our own special table, the Adamos.
Reserved for the Adamos. We have our own sign there.
Yeah,
it's good marketing.
Yes.
You make us feel
special.
good.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning.
Yes.
The background, the early
Absolutely.
days.
I mean, obviously, came here when I was in 1969, 3 years old. I was born in Campagna, which is the Naples region, small town, Paolisi, Benevento. Came here in 1969. When I first was young, always being around the kitchen with my mom. My mom was the cook. My dad didn't cook.
That's like me. I can't
cook.
It was my sister and myself. And my sister didn't want anything to do about cooking.
Right.
So unusual for an Italian family.
Of course.
Right?
She's still, every time she invites us over, she's still not a great cook.
Cook. And I'm sure you let her know
that. Does she know that?
Yeah. She doesn't cook like my mom and myself. But just growing up around the heritage of being Italian, we were very lucky to have, when you think of Italy, you think of great food, think of love, family, and wine. I mean, that's what goes together. There's reasons why everyone travels to Italy. It's always about the food and the wine and the scenery. So I'm definitely fortunate to have a part of me from Italy. Growing up in America, we grew up Italian. We grew up the Italian way. We made sure
Italian.
Yeah,
you brought Italy to America.
We made sure every Sunday dinner was started at 2:00.
Yep.
They went on to 9:00 at night.
Wait, tell people about that. So most people don't know. Growing up in our house, the same thing. Dinner on Sunday is 1 or 2 p.m.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not
That's it.
dinner time.
And
You-
8 hours later.
Yeah,
We
and
grew
then
up-
you have a little snack later.
Yes.
We grew up very Italian in Virtuoso, where my backyard was never any grass, and was all any kind of vegetables and figs. I used to say to my grandfather, "Can we have grass in a swimming pool like every 1 hour?" He goes, "What? You're going to eat the grass?" And I didn't understand. I wanted pool back then, but now I get it.
They
Yes.
also had pets that ended up on the dinner table.
Yes,
like
definitely.
rabbits,
Where's,
goats.
where's my pet rabbit? That went
Yeah,
away.
Fluffy was dinner. Was a pet one
Yes.
day, and then he was on a. And
Chickens,
I'm
goats.
actually I'm okay with that. I grew
Yeah.
up with goat for Easter.
Yeah,
We used to have
baby
and
lamb.
stuff for it. Yeah, but let's go back to your mom inspired you. She taught you. What's the one dish that your mom can still kick your butt in that you can't master that dish?
I
It's
would
got
have
to be
to,
something.
I would have to say her lasagna, the
Really?
bolognese, the Fiorentine style. She learned how to make that. There's a lasagna Fiorentine which is made with bechamel and the ground pork.
That's
and
how they
ground
really
beef.
do it.
It's almost Greek too,
Yeah,
isn't it? with the
so
bechamel?
No.
when we were in Italy, we were in Sesto Fiorentino, which is outside of Tuscany.
Okay.
So my dad's brother's wife taught my mom how to make that recipe, and to this day, she makes that the best. I've made
Yeah.
it before, but she has the special
Homemade bechamel.
homemade
Wow.
bechamel with the
That's the
bolognese
key.
sauce.
Is that your
bolognese.
go-to when your mom
Yeah.
having you for dinner?
For
I say
people who
mom.
don't know, tell them what bechamel is.
Yeah, bechamel is made with milk and a roux of flour and butter, and then some shaved nutmeg and salt and white pepper.
It's like a creamier
Yes.
cheese,
Don't
right?
the Greeks have a similar type of recipe?
I'm not sure about that, but I know that a lot of the American style lasagnas they use ricotta.
Heavy.
Right.
It's really
Yeah,
heavy.
we don't use ricotta. We don't use sausage. We just make a light bolognese with pork and beef. We puree the bolognese. It's very thin the way we serve it at Lanni's Cucina. We
Right.
use pappardelle. It's a thin bolognese that's pureed, not chunky that you
Right.
see here in the American
Yeah, my
restaurants.
friend Stefano, well, he's an agent on the
Yeah.
team as well, married my friend. When he grew up in Milan, so when he came here and he was saying to us, like, how do you make your lasagna? Is it with ricotta or bechamel? If someone says ricotta, he's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, the real way is bechamel.
Bechamel.
People don't realize that all these parmesans, eggplant parmesan,
Yeah.
and all
Penne alla vodka.
Yeah.
that's an American.
Those
version.
are American
the Italians
dishes.
Don't parmesan.
You don't see that there.
They
No.
don't parmesan anything.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
It's
don't like to
completely
put
different.
stuff on their food. They like to
There's
keep it
no
clean.
penne alla vodka.
It's actually more. It's a little much more plain than you realize.
Correct.
But delicious. You know, the
That's why you
ingredients.
go and you don't gain weight and
Yep.
you feel good
No
because it's
cream,
not
no
like these
butter.
heavy butter cheese dishes that they make here in America. But we could go into that on a
So
different. Yeah.
your mom's go-to is the
Lasagna.
lasagna. What is your
out of
best
Fiorentino.
plate? Your go-to. Your
God, there's so many. I'd say
gotta
my
be
best.
one that you
If,
could-
if
you
I
could
think
name it.
I think also buco. I mean, it's
that's
a
good.
dish from Milano. Even though I'm from Campagna, I make that fantastic. If I have to pick the Campagna dish from the Naples region, I definitely would do the pomodoro sauce.
is that a special on your menu or is
Also,
it
buco is a special,
It is?
but I make rabbit very well. That's from the
I love
recipes
that.
from Ischia. The island of Ischia, which is off the coast of Naples, is famous for rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
So my family, we grow rabbit. My Italian family there on Ischia, and
Right.
we have a big butcher shop there in Italy. My mom's side of the family. And we
Grass-fed,
always,
right?
always go to Ischia when we go there, and that's where we learn the recipe of
Oh,
making
amazing.
rabbit alla Ischiatana. It's
That's
called.
interesting.
Rabbit
All,
alla
all these
Ischiatana.
years I've been going to your restaurant, I don't think I've had it, so I'm going to book reservations this week.
It's on the menu.
Michael always
Yeah.
gets it.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
rabbit is
remember- I
fantastic.
actually don't remember having it.
So another point I want to make too is yes, all Richfield natives here,
Yes.
but also from the hometown of Italy. Lanni Vittorio is from a region Benevento that also your family is from,
That's
our
right,
family.
yes.
So a lot of that, why we maybe love your food even
Connection,
more, that
connection,
comes
yeah.
through. But what I love about your restaurant is you take a lot of different regions and recipes
Yeah.
from, like, I know we're not Sicilian. I married
Yeah.
Sicilian. But you have Sicilian somewhere, right?
Yes, my brother-in-law Marco is
Okay.
Sicilian. He's married to my sister.
So he did
I
some
learned a lot
homage.
from him.
Oh,
Right.
really?
From going to Sicily every year. I mean, we learned I love Sicilian cuisine.
Yeah.
next to
It's so
Naples.
different.
They're
Yeah.
big on eggplant.
Yeah,
And
Mediterranean.
fish.
See,
And fish, yeah, well, by the water, yeah.
Crudo,
So I remember one of my first cocktails I had at the restaurant, you had the Sicilian margarita.
Yes.
So which we'll also get into, very specific about where he sources his ingredients from, which we love. And the blood orange was actually from Sicily. Like,
Yes,
it's just
I remember
all
that.
the
Blood
real
orange,
deal.
all
Yeah.
from Sicily. That's where they grow and they migrate. But I think, when you're dealing with the different regions of Italy, the best part of my cooking is I know the different cuisines from each region.
Right.
I've traveled to there's 20 different regions in Italy.
Right.
And I was in 18 of the different 20, eating and drinking wine. When I was in the wine business, I was very fortunate to travel these different regions and pick up dishes from
Right.
everywhere and create them onto Lanni's Cucina Verace's menu.
I actually want to tap into
Yeah.
that too. You have just a strong background in wine, so
Yeah.
you know how to pair your wine
Yeah.
with the right dish.
So tell us, let's backtrack before the restaurant opens. You were in the wine distributing business.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I started with Southern Wine and Spirits in 2010, and knowing already the wine business from my previous restaurants in Palm Beach, Florida,
Right.
this really enhanced me. I became a level 3 sommelier and really got to travel to Italy, Portugal, Spain, France,
Amazing.
Argentina, every part of the wine region, California 20 times.
Right.
So not only when I opened my restaurant back in 2023, now I had 13 years of all wine knowledge
Right.
to really bring to the
so it's an
table.
authentic experience as well.
Yeah, so Italy is what I focus on. So Italian wines that we pair, we do a special menu now on Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We do a wine pairing with a food pairing for $75. And we're in Piedmont right now. Piemonte is in northern Italy. So we have
Oh, I had it. It's incredible.
four courses.
You do
We're
a
doing
region every week.
Every
different
month. We're doing every month.
is a new
So
region.
next month will be Tuscany, starting next week.
I'll be there
Nice.
for
And
Tuscany.
I love Tuscan wine.
Yes.
So we had a girls' night recently, and we did the
Yes,
pairing for
Piemonte.
Piemonte. We had
So-
too much fun, but it
Yeah.
was incredible.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
weren't
the
there, but
Benzina.
I was there for
Yeah.
pickup. It was a late night.
Kim took care of it.
Yeah,
right?
she did. It
took
was
care
a
of it, yes.
girls' workout.
Actually, Kim had left by the time I got there.
Yeah.
She had to
Yeah.
go over to the which. So okay, tell me, what
Let's
is
get
the
back to the
inspiration behind starting Lanni's Cucina? Was it always a dream for you, and how did it originally happen?
Yes.
And also tell us. I know you had restaurants before in
Yep.
Palm Beach. Then you did wine. Now bring us. You can maybe tell us that, and then bring us to Lanni's.
I believe when an individual has certain passion inside,
Right.
it's always going to stay with you.
Yeah.
It could be any business, your business in the real estate business, the restaurant business, any kind of business. So getting out of the business for 13 years, I was inside saying, I know I could do this again.
Right.
I know I could cook. I know I got to do something here in the town where I live.
You were itching.
Yeah. So I was itching to do it. So Kim and I found this. There was a for rent sign on it was a preschool where I'm
That's
at
right,
now.
yeah.
It was called the Red Owl Academy.
Yeah.
For rent. I'm like, Kim, we got to get back. This is 2021 during
But
COVID.
the facade is just, you didn't even touch it other than add a little.
No, the facade was all
beautiful.
Beautiful. It was just
Right.
redone in 2017. I called up and we went to look at it. It was 1,000 square foot. The restaurants, and I said we can make an intimate 30-seat
Yeah.
restaurant out of this. And little as we know, 2 years later for the build out, we finally opened May of 2023.
Incredible.
And it was exciting. I challenged myself to say, I know I made it in Palm Beach. I know I can make it up here.
Right.
And
What made you leave Palm Beach?
I sold my restaurants,
Had enough?
2 restaurants, and I got out. And I said, I'm never going back in this business again. I said,
I can relate.
I'm done. And then here I am in a wine business. I'm saying I just had to be more challenged. I didn't feel the passion of what I'm doing now.
Right.
Is what I love. Once it's in your blood, it's in your blood.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
you
it's-
can't get away from
It's
it.
like
get away
just
from
when
it. And you
you
don't want
think
to.
you're done, they pull you back in.
Yeah, like they say in that movie.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So
I'm glad you got that.
perfect transition to how do you transition your passions, right, and
Yep.
like your culinary passion and those beginnings to creating a thriving business? So how do you go from making that this is my creative hotspot and now how do I thrive in business?
Well, I believe, first of all, it all comes from, your ingredients. Let's start with the food-wise. I mean, we've all been to a lot of restaurants that, the food has to be top-notch.
Right.
So it all starts with the ingredients. It starts with how you present your food, how you cook your food, where you get your food from. It all relates from the staff that you have.
Yeah.
Everyone has to be as passionate as the owner.
Right.
When you're business, you have everyone around you you need everyone. You can't do it by
It's the
yourself.
same.
It takes a
It's the
team.
It's a
same thing
team
here.
effort.
You have one bad egg that doesn't believe in it. It
That's
brings down the whole
So,
morale.
as far as everyone that works together, everyone is inspired by me. And,
Right.
and I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
My staff sees that, and they say, when are you taking a day off, boss? I've said, no, I want to be here. I don't want to miss a person coming in and me not seeing them.
Right.
So I try to run back and forth to both restaurants. I know we didn't get into the other one, but I try to see everyone when they're at the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, there's never a time I'm at Lonnie's that you are not there. Until recently, when you open your new restaurant, if you're not there, you're at the other one.
Right.
Why don't you tell us about the second one that just opened, which is
Wait, on a side note,
Yeah.
we begged you to take a week off for 4 or 5 days to come to the
Yeah.
wedding in Italy.
I know he wouldn't even
And
come to the
Kim
wedding.
was
If it was any other time but New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
I would have been there.
I
If
don't
it was
know.
now, I
Right.
would be there.
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you'll
I
leave
think
it.
my wife
Yeah.
Kimberly would have definitely. She probably should have went.
Left you home?
Yeah, because she's still upset that she didn't go.
She was waiting for you to say go.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were all
It was-
waiting for you.
yeah.
Anyway, so Victoria's right. But on a side note, I also want to say that you're in an industry like us, but more so your industry where people love to talk about food and judge and tell their friends, and they think they're critics and so forth. You got like instant reviews, instant fame, and
Fans.
and fans immediately. And
You've created raving fans.
It's all because. It's all about your food, number one. But
Yeah.
it's also about your services, your personality.
Hospitality.
Yeah.
And it's like Billy Joe said, Italian restaurant where you feel comfortable at home, and you make people feel they're at home in that place. So you've done a great job. Just
Thank
keep
you.
it up.
There's a lot of restaurants around, so
Yeah.
people choose every night where they want to go.
Right.
So for someone to walk into my door, it's
Right.
like walking into my home. I feel honored
Right.
that they're going to take the time to come and spend money and
Mm.
eat and give me an opportunity
It's the experience.
to have a great experience in
Right.
my restaurant. They could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I tell my staff that all the time. They don't have to come here, but they're coming here because of something special.
Right.
So embrace that, because some people may leave and never come back.
Yeah.
You want them to keep coming back and feel
Exactly.
special. That's what.
And it's true. You are a restaurant run, and quality. You all have quality restaurants around you, so you all complement one another. So if you want to take one day off and change it up, but your place is always consistent. That's what I like about it.
I would say we're return customers.
Yes, definitely.
I
are.
actually stopped going to the other places, but that's a side note.
Why you go to the pizza place more?
No, I'm talking about his
Oh
competition
yeah.
before,
Oh,
before
actually,
you came.
people
yeah.
have said to us
Where you been?
from other restaurants,
Yes,
"Oh,
we-
you don't
yeah.
come by us anymore because you're at the new fancy restaurant."
But when you find a place you love, then why
Yeah.
change?
You stick
know?
with a win. I always say
Yeah.
when you like something, you just stick with it.
Yeah,
So it's
and
great.
I think
appreciate
like
that.
beyond the food being incredibly like it feels
Well, you never say no to us, even last
gourmet,
minute.
Of course.
special, but it also feels like I could be eating at home, but it's a really special experience. But also, it's how you make us feel when we're there. Also, for me, there's not one bad wine on that list that you can order.
Well,
Like,
you've always put us in the right direction for
Yes.
pairing, which is
you've
good.
actually put me onto my favorite wine.
Yeah.
Like I've liked Brunellos and Barolos,
Yeah.
but the
You have good
Brunello
taste.
di Montalcino, very expensive habit
Yeah.
you created for me, but that's
But
probably
you,
one of my
you made,
top
You
favorites.
made up for it in your new restaurant. I love your new concept.
The
there.
50 for
Yeah,
50.
can you tell
Yeah.
us about Trattoria da
Yeah, and
Vittorio?
we'll come back to Lonnie's, but let's just jump to the new
Well,
restaurant.
When I opened Trattoria, I had the vision of people that don't want to have that fine dining of Lonnie's.
Right.
I wasn't capturing everyone.
Right,
You know, I was missing the boat on all the clientele possible.
right,
That I could reach into coming into Lonnie's.
Right.
Some people that want to come in and formal, sit
like a
down.
casual
But
dinner.
sometimes you can't do fine dining 5 days a week, so
Right.
they can
Exactly.
catch them in,
So-
an event, a
Very
special
smart
occasion.
idea to do
and
both,
Your
yeah.
pizza's next level.
So when I found the restaurant and I bought the restaurant May 2nd of 2024,
Right.
I knew I had a timeline to try to get my pizza oven in from Italy, get the place renovated, and open by at least early fall, late summer.
Yeah.
Because I know Piermont is a town that is very
Walking
seasonal.
traffic. It's,
Yeah.
yes.
Walking, a lot of dogs walking, people
Right,
sitting
right.
outside. We have the outside there. So I
Chi-Chi comes
created
a
the
lot.
restaurant to look as Tuscan Neapolitan as possible with the
Oh, you-
beams,
yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
the wood burning oven.
What was there before?
It was a Turkish restaurant.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
It was
so
it
complete
had a
Dutch
lot
oven.
of turnover.
Yeah.
That place.
So Piermont already has a
Yeah.
lot of traffic. It's like being in a mini New York City.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a city.
It's very artsy.
completely
He's got a
different.
great vibe.
Yeah, we're open for lunch. So when I opened that restaurant, I wanted people to come there 3 times a week.
Right.
I wanted people to not spend as much money as they
Mm-hmm.
would coming to a fine dining restaurant like Lonnie's. So I created the 50 for 50 menu. All my wines, $50 a bottle
Incredible.
for 50 wines.
Genius,
We have Brunello
great,
for
yes.
50.
I know. So a bottle of Brunello could go up to like 100, 300, 400, whatever at
Yeah.
a restaurant. This list is all these 50 wines are $50. That's
Yeah.
it. And they're way more than $50.
Correct. I tasted a lot of wines when I was creating this list. So we have some companies that may have this Brunello just for me.
Right.
So they only sell it to me
Nice.
for a certain
Incredible.
price that I'm able to offer to the
From a
customers.
person who's been marketing my entire life, genius. Very
Yeah,
marketing,
great
creative.
idea.
So let's go back to Lonnie's. What made you
Yeah.
put the
And-
menu together, the concept?
Yep.
And it is the fine dining experience that I think this area was missing.
It lacks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Lanni's is a different animal. We have 1,000 bottles of wine. We
Yeah.
have wines that go up to $1,500 a bottle, which they do sell.
Yeah.
So one of my old managers, Joe Del Noble, who passed, he taught me a lot about the business in Florida, and he was an old time restaurant guy, and he always said to me the famous line: "You can't sell from an empty cart. If you don't have it, you're not going to sell it."
You're right.
So I remember when I was like, "Joe, you think I should order this Louis XIII? It's $2,000 a bottle back then. Now
Yeah.
it's like $4."
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "Really, people ask for it. If you don't have it, you're not going to sell it."
And
So-
have they been asking?
and now with his concept, I always order more things to have in house. You're going to spend the money, but if you don't have it, you're not going to sell it. So that's why that line is: "You can't sell from an empty cart."
cart.
I
It's
like
genius.
that.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good thing. So,
I'm gonna we're gonna put that on our wall somewhere.
yeah, you can't sell from an empty cart. If you don't have it, you're not going to sell it.
Yeah.
People ask for it. You know how many times people come in, and if I don't have something, I get upset. Like, "Oh man,
Right.
why didn't I have that? I
Right.
lost a sale."
Well, my wife loves the
the
after
Vincento
de
one.
France.
Then- oh my God, I think
So now
I got it. I have it for her.
I know
Yeah.
you stocked up just for us, so you really
Yeah.
do cater.
she has
to
her
your
own
client's
special
taste.
Vincento at Lonnie.
Yeah, she has it there, and
Right.
we have the one at Trattoria now.
And the
She discovered it
Amarone
in
you
Italy.
have
Yeah.
yeah.
at the is my.
Yeah.
We just learned about Amarone when we went
Yeah.
got married in Venice.
You learned how they dried the grapes for 3 months. They air dry.
No, I didn't learn that.
No,
Tell
you
us.
missed that.
Yeah, so
I just know it's like-
a couple reasons why Brunello and Amarone are so expensive. If
Right.
I could talk about this.
Sure.
For a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Hey,
so-
this is your day. Your
Yeah, so
moment.
the Amarone, which is made in Veneto, that's Rondanella,
Right.
Corvina grape. So they take the grapes after they're harvested in September, and they lay them out on screens for 3 months where they become like raisins. The
Wow.
grapes. So what that does is it elevates the sugar concentration in the grape
Right.
and the alcohol level as well.
Right.
So for 3 months they're air dried, then they're squeezed, they're pressed. So think about trying to get a raisin, squeezing it and getting it as little juice as possible
Yeah.
of it.
Takes a lot of raisins to
So
get it dropped, doesn't
the
it?
yield is low.
Right.
The sugar
That's
content
why.
and the alcohol level is
Right.
high. That's why it's expensive because
Got it.
they're not getting the right
But the
amount
final
of juice.
product is not like sweet. Where
It's not sweet,
No,
but
it's
it has a little
a punch.
the palate on it does have a sweet and the same with
It's-
Brunello
yeah.
di Montalcino. So
Yeah.
Brunello di Montalcino comes from Montalcino. So the speaking about Montalcino region,
Yes.
the landscape of the region cannot be changed by the law
Right.
of Italian. So it's hundreds of years old. The word Brunello, where did it come from? Back in the 1800s, the gentleman that started the Brunello was Mr. Biondi Santi. Biondi
Oh.
Santi right
Is that
now.
that winery?
Yeah, Biondi
Yeah.
Santi is one of the most expensive
yeah.
Brunellos. So when he
in
looked,
Tuscany, right?
yes, it's in Montalcino. So it's high on the hilltops. All the wineries are high on hilltops. When he looked at the wine and the color of the wine, he said, "Ma questo vino, this wine, è un colore di Brunello." It's a color of Brunello.
Brunello,
Oh.
dark.
So if you look at the color of a Brunello,
Right.
it's got like a rusty brownish color.
Yeah.
Because in order for Brunello, you have to age Brunello 5 years. That's why it's expensive. So think about putting all your investment in a winery.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're squeezing the grapes. Now it's 2025. You're not releasing your first vintage till 2030. So
Crazy,
all that
yeah.
time you have to fund
Right.
this place. So now if you open the bottle in 2030 and the wine's not good, you just lost millions
Yeah.
of dollars.
Wow.
And
So
5 years.
that's
of
what
your
drives
life.
That is
the
a
price
risky.
up.
Yeah.
So it's a risk.
It's a risk. So Brunello
Yeah.
it's 3 years regular,
Right.
5 years reserva.
Or you just have to know what you're
Sitting back,
doing.
yeah. So when you make a Brunello, it has to age at least 3 years. The 5 years is the Reserva.
So that's got to be generations of family.
Generation. So beyond the
Right.
Santi, there's so many great. All the producers in the Montecino region are all old history.
I mean, I could have an episode just on wine.
wines.
It's so
Right.
interesting to me, and I became like over the past 10 years more and more into it. And then Michael and I, like going away on trips, we made sure we do like wine tours, or like the last few we did private tastings with sommeliers. Like we did one in Lake Como, and I guess so. Veneto is about 30 minutes from
from the lake.
from Venice.
It's maybe
Closer?
maybe
But-
maybe longer. Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of the Venetians drink,
Yeah.
the Amarone.
Amarone.
Right.
And,
And
the
they-
white
yeah.
is Suave.
Right. And they were telling us with Amarone, it's either kind of a crappy, cheap bottle that's not so great, or it's just really expensive.
Like Bertani is one of the biggest labels made. They always
Right.
produce that. Bertani.
What's the price point on that one?
The Bertani Amarone, we have it on the list for 600, 500 a bottle. Yeah, so
Whenever I'm away, I'm like texting Vittorio, like, can you get this wine?
Yeah.
Can you order
We
it
can
for
get
us?
anything.
Like,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not too guy for
because
wine.
you
Yeah.
can't buy it here. Like, so the list she gave us, I still have to send you. You can't buy it
Just
here.
send
We
it to me,
looked.
yeah.
Yeah, it's in. I want to
So-
show you one of them.
Wait, what's your take on California wines? Because we've done the California wine, and they're great, but
I have to tell you.
just love
Tell us.
Italian.
I'll tell you, I've sold California wines
Yeah.
for the last 13 years. I've sold the top wines, Opus One. I've sold Silver
Right.
Oak. I've sold all that wine. So what happens is in California, a lot of these cabs are put in American oak, and they're put in these wood barrels that really mask the flavor
Yeah.
of wine. After drinking only Italian for the last 3 years and not
Well,
California,
really your whole life.
yeah, but now when I got in the
Yes.
wine business, I never drank California because we always drank Italian. So starting from 2010 on, when I worked in
Right.
the business, it's all about California.
Right.
Right.
And I got used to that flavor. And now for the last 2 years, going back, tasting only Italians for 2 years, tasting California wine, your palate is definitely gets
different.
thrown off.
Changed.
Changed because you're tasting a lot of wood.
Right.
Right.
Italians don't like wood in
Yeah.
their wine. They want the natural grape.
It's not
They want
oaky.
to taste
But
what
their
it tastes.
barrels are not wood.
Their barrels are the Slovenian oak that have been used and used and used. What the oak barrels do is smooths out the wine. Like in Barolo, they don't use a lot of wood.
Yeah.
Barolo is the region up in Piemonte.
Right.
So the reason, there's 3 powerhouses in Italy. It's Brunello, Amarone, and Barolo. That's what Victoria loves, the
Yep.
3 powerhouses. She has good taste.
Of course.
So when you talk about Barolo, it's
Yeah.
a small little designated area in Piemonte. That's made with the Nebbiolo
Yeah.
grape.
Right.
Barolo has 5 provinces. You have Canubi, you have Alto Mare, all different, 5 different regions. Each region has a different flavor of the
Right.
Nebbiolo grape and
Yeah.
made different way. That's why it's
So
expensive.
when we were in the Maldives on our honeymoon, we did this private night
Yep.
that she was actually in from Piedmonte. Of course, we're in the Maldives and there's an Italian woman there.
Yeah, that's rare. It's
Yeah.
the whole world.
And she was the daughter of one of the biggest Barolo wineries.
Yeah.
I'll get the name for you.
What was the name? Adona?
I have to look at
Yeah,
it. It was
Marchesi di Barolo.
incredible,
Yeah.
incredible. And we can't.
You didn't bring a bottle home?
You can't.
Yeah.
Not
Like-
ship? You can have a ship.
No, we would have to order like.
God,
Long
As the
altogether.
Maldives,
You-
like they
Right.
say, is it beautiful?
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
And unreal. And then so when we were in Como, we did one with a private sommelier, and I'm sure you know this, but we tasted.
Oh yeah, you had the best Merlot in the world.
It was
Is it?
12,500
Yeah.
euros. Okay, and then this one I took a picture because I want you to get this for the restaurant if you don't have it. It's kind of like the idea of a Vinsanto.
Yeah.
I can't find it
All
anywhere.
right, this is Pasito. So
What is that?
Pasito comes from Pantelleria. Pantelleria is a small island, the farthest island of the Aeolian Islands off the coast of Sicily.
Okay.
So you have Salina, you have Stromboli. Pasito is right in the middle of the Mediterranean there. Not the Mediterranean, the other
Is it by,
Mediterranean.
is it by itself?
By itself. Pantelleria, they call it Pasito. There's a
Okay.
grape that grows there. It's called Zirbibo.
Okay.
The grapes are like this.
Yeah.
The trees are this big.
Oh
So
my God.
It's a white grape.
Yeah.
And they make the Pasito. I could get that.
Mom will love that. 'Cause it's like a
Pasitos. You
version
can't
of
get,
it.
and it's a sweet one. They
Yeah.
dry the grapes same way as Amarone.
Oh, really?
In the sun.
Nice.
That's what makes the pasito. They dry age it. It gets, the grapes are green, and then they turn brown, and they make that Vinsanto.
Amazing.
That you eat with the
Yeah.
pasito, you eat with the biscotti.
So
too.
good.
I don't think we made it clear to the audience what Versanto really is. It's an after dinner
The
drink.
Vinsanto is a wine that was made for the saint.
Oh.
Italy. That's why it's called Vin Santo. Santo is a
Saint, right?
Yeah, so he would drink it, the saint of Italy, all the different saints.
Like after dinner,
Yes.
his dessert.
And what would you pair that with? What type of dessert?
That could be used also as like a dessert wine with cheese,
Yeah.
Yes, honey and
or you could also have it with foie gras.
It's
like
rich,
they
like
do
a
with,
little syrup, not
yeah.
syrupy. Like what is the
Yeah,
word?
it's
sweet.
It's
It's a
sweet. It has
sweet
a
wine.
sweet sugar content, but it's sweet from the sun drying of
Right.
the grape,
Right.
Not with sugar.
Right.
grapes that become raisins.
Yeah,
and you
and
get-
like if you eat a raisin, they don't add sugar to it.
No.
It's sweet.
Okay.
Right.
Because that
My
was a
next
grape.
question, which I think is a great topic, explain to us why we're in Italy and we drink all these wines, high prices, low prices, whatever. We wake up, we're fine, and we're ready to have wine again the next day. You are here, and some of the wines
Yeah.
people drink in America, everyone's hungover.
I believe
sulfite?
Yeah, the sulfite content. When you're shipping wines, that you have to have some kind of additive or
Right.
preservative,
Right.
and that's what happens. I mean, in Italy, they make the wine. There's no preservative. They stay in Italy. They make two different wines for different parts of the
Okay.
world.
One they're
Some
shipping
labels
out, one-
ship and some stay there.
I didn't know that.
and I'm sure the temperatures have a lot to come to play
Yeah.
with this too. The travel.
And the
Exporting.
Italians are very shrewd when it comes to their wine.
Yes.
Yeah, they give a second hand. They keep the
Yeah,
best. Trust
wow.
us. Yeah,
I
don't,
didn't know
don't trust
that
the
part.
Italians over there.
They're not
So
dummies.
basically, we just have to live in Italy. We don't
Yeah,
want
I
to
grew up
gain
as a-
weight or be
my
hungover.
grandfather making wine
Yeah.
my entire life.
Yes.
Yeah, in
But
the
that wine didn't give
basement.
us headaches.
No, it
No,
didn't.
no,
And
wine.
he didn't add sugar.
Well, there was
No,
no
I didn't.
sulfite.
I knew a lot of
Yeah.
families that would add
Yeah.
There was
packages of
nothing
No,
added.
we had nothing.
Yeah.
Natural.
all
Yeah,
natural.
no preservatives, no
Yep.
sulfates.
I should actually take it. It's still in Ridgefield. It
You
still
have to
has like
see it.
Andina.
He sounds like
Oh
Andina.
my God,
Yeah.
the barrels and everything.
Yeah,
He
so-
lived till he was 101. He drank homemade red wine
Wow.
every single day.
That's it.
And the doctor said, "Well, you're going to stop him from drinking. He's
Yeah.
better than all
Yeah.
of us. Let him have his
No,
drink."
he was on no medications.
Yep.
Like perfect.
That's because he lived a good life drinking.
did a
homemade
good
wine.
life. Yeah.
Every
And
day.
eating stuff from the backyard, the vegetables. That's why we're healthy. You know?
We like
Right.
to think that the wine preserved him.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did.
Yeah.
I believe in that. That's why the Italians believe in that. They
so
drink every day.
a glass of red wine a day is
Yeah.
okay, right?
Yeah.
Keeps the doctor away.
I think a bottle is good too.
Okay.
Well,
Even
my
better for
grandfather didn't have a
me.
glass. He had a bottle.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the
Bottle
end,
of
we
that.
switched him to like a glass, but
course.
that was
Hey,
by
at
100.
90, 100, do whatever you want, right?
All right, so back to talking restaurant,
Yes.
even though I could talk about wine all day. Every entrepreneur faces challenges. And what are some of the biggest hurdles you faced while not only building Lonnie's, but also
Yeah.
opening it? What did you see there that was hard?
I think some of the hurdles in the beginning, not knowing the area
Right.
that I was getting into, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. When you're investing a lot of your own money into something and not knowing what the outcome is.
Do you mean more like the audience that you were trying to attract?
Yeah. So just making sure everything was, it was tough getting there. I would always say, Kim, we're going to get to the finish line. No,
Yeah.
we're going to get to the finish line.
But you're
Then
talking about before the opening, behind the scenes, just getting the
Yeah, just getting the
permits,
restaurant
Getting
open.
it open, yeah.
Right.
That was
That was
the hardest
challenging.
part. When I
Right.
when I put the key in the door, everything got easy.
Right.
Okay.
'Cause at that
That's-
point, you
yeah.
had full control.
Everything. I had a staff that's still with me.
Right.
My chef Javier is still with me.
They're incredible.
Everyone is still with
Cristiano.
me. Christian's no longer with us,
Oh.
but he was with us for
And
a while.
Yeah.
He
your
moved on
son,
to
too.
the
Don't
city.
forget, your
Oh,
son's
okay.
a chef
My
as well,
son's
so it's in the
back
family.
next week. So
Yeah.
keeping the employees there and not have to deal that someone didn't show up on a Saturday night when you have 120 reservations. I haven't had that.
You don't have to have that fear.
I haven't had
yeah.
that. I'm lucky enough to be in this business
That's
in both
hard.
restaurants where I didn't have to jump back there and
They
cook.
either fear you or they respect you.
Yes.
I'm going to go with respect.
Maybe
Respect.
both.
Respect. And,
That's
and
okay.
listen, they get paid every Friday, and
Right.
they know that
You keep them happy.
Keep them happy.
And you know what? We know all of them. They're
Yeah.
happy people.
Yeah.
And they know you, and they
Yeah.
make you feel
And they make
They
you
know
feel
how we like our
comfortable.
drinks.
Yeah.
Of course.
They make you feel extremely
Yeah.
comfortable,
Yeah.
like it's your
And that's
home.
what I created. So it
Yeah.
all starts always from the top.
They're a
Alessandro
reflection of you.
from
Yeah.
day one became like our friend.
Yes.
I mean, oh my God. So I always managed to get to Lonnie's before they're even open. Like I'll text him, I'll be like,
I know.
are you there?
You there at 3 o'clock? Come on in.
He's not open, but I'll sit at the bar. But I think it was like one of the first months of you open, and we had Adencina, our dog, who was like 3 months
that was
old.
Yeah, it was tiny.
And
Right,
she
yes.
was in a little like blanket, and he
I
let
remember
us,
that day.
the whole family, sit at the bar, and he
And
wasn't
I'm
even
like,
open.
you can't bring the dog in there. What's the matter?
No,
with you?
I was like, he
But you
doesn't
just say
care.
yes
Yeah.
every
Come
night.
on
He's
in.
like, come on in.
We had prosciutto. I
Got
made
the
some
pasta,
stuff.
yeah.
Everything. The boards of prosciutto out for us, like fish from the back that he
Yeah.
wasn't even on the menu that he was letting us taste.
Actually, it was a
espresso
winter
martinis.
afternoon.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Espresso
It was fun.
martinis, everything.
And you guys blew it out. You had a good time.
We
You were there
did.
for about 4 hours.
4 hours. So
Just come by to say hello.
that was the first time. Also, like Blaine, Brian, my
Yeah.
mom, and Michael met you.
First time
That's
I
right.
met him.
2 hours in, he's like stuffing his face.
Yeah.
Him and Alessandro have their shirts off because they have matching Sicilian tattoos.
What a great time.
Yeah, just
I
really
I
remember
like
that was
fun.
Alessandro
yesterday.
because also, so when you open up the brick oven pizza,
Yeah.
Trattoria, he was there. I'm like, and he was different dress
Yeah.
code, more relaxed. Then he went back to Lonnie because
Yeah.
he goes, "This is more my speed." I'm
Yeah,
saying
he was like
up.
a sore thumb there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes the
He
fine
likes to
dining.
dress up.
And exactly, he represents you well. But before we go to the next topic, you know, I put a brick oven pizza in my backyard.
Yes.
You promised me.
Yeah.
You're gonna come and give me some.
I
tips
certainly
and
will.
lessons.
Episode 2 will be
Yeah.
in the kitchen
I
backyard.
think we'll do
Backyard.
that. We should make some pizza.
Kim has
cook
to
some
come.
Stuff. Yep, Kim will be there. I would have brought her here today, but I didn't know that I would have brought her here.
Oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
she's gonna
This
come
is
on my
a new
podcast.
guest. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She can do tea with
No,
fish.
she's
I would
coming
like
on
to
mine.
do I would like to have her on with the decorating.
Yes, that's-
tell us what ideas. And
So when
same with Trattoria, she did all that.
Yeah, but
It's
she can
in-
go
it's
in tea with
beautiful.
V. We need to
Yeah,
spill the tea.
okay.
she created
You may not want that.
a really just gorgeous vibe. Like Blaine and I
wallpaper.
love
Yes.
it's the wallpaper. It's iconic. Like that's how you know you should have that everywhere.
Yeah.
Like on your car. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. The bathroom is beautiful. The artwork they chose, the bar, it's very authentic. It
Yeah.
feels
It's a great
like
vibe.
uptown New York, Upper East Side, old school vibes.
It is.
I love
We
it.
tried to create like the Palm Beach, like the
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
the Beverly Hills hotels.
Yep.
You when you walk in and you want to feel rich. You want
Yeah.
to feel the richness
That's what you
of
feel.
the room. And
Yeah.
that's why we did with
Like,
the
I
purple
cannot go
banquettes,
underdressed.
I love that,
lavender
yeah.
banquettes.
And then at Trattoria, the pizza place,
You feel like you're in Italy, in
You're in
Tuscany,
Italy.
yeah.
You're home. It's rustic. Michael and I love pizza. So after our civil ceremony that we had in Old
Yeah.
Japan at
With
the house,
family.
Right.
Yeah.
we went there after in our
I got to meet Michael's family as well.
yeah,
Yep,
and
excellent.
celebrated our wedding night there.
And it was a beautiful evening and Sunday night at Piermont, and it was starting to snow that night. Remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that-
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I'll remember forever. It's
Yes.
like, yeah, you create memories.
But
that
you
last
also
forever.
have displayed, when you walk in, a big prosciutto slicer.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
very,
Right,
very
yeah.
special. I made sure I wanted to, in Italy they really take care of how their prosciutto. They're
Right.
they're fanatics about it. So the reason for that hand slicer,
Yeah.
it's precision paper thin. The blade spins very slow.
Right.
When you slice prosciutto on an electric blade, now think about how fast that goes.
Yeah.
Right, right.
What's it doing? It's adding friction to the prosciutto.
Right.
It's cooking the prosciutto.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
Italians
see.
Wow.
have that old school, so you turn it. The prosciutto doesn't get cooked. It doesn't get frailed and beat up by that fast
So
spinning.
authentic, the Italians.
And I love the fact that you're walking around just handing people slices of thin
Yeah,
slices
yeah,
of
the
prosciutto.
prosciutto on the board,
Like you're
yeah.
right in
No, you
Italy.
feel
It's
like
like
you're-
your grandfather's
Yeah,
backyard.
mangia,
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
it.
Mangia.
So after, the trials and tribulations
Yes.
of getting it started, headache, what was that major breakthrough moment where you looked at Kim and you were like, it was all worth it. We made
God,
it.
I opened up on it was May 9th, 2023. It was a Tuesday, and Mother's Day was the following Sunday. And Mother's Day is a big day in the
Yes.
restaurant business.
Yeah.
So
Moms are not
I
cooking that
opened on
day.
Tuesday, and my biggest thing of being proud, and Kim and I talked about it to this day, I was sold out for Mother's Day 5 days later.
Insane.
And wait, and
Without
you had
any
just opened up
advertising.
what?
I opened up 5 days before. It was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Sunday I was sold out both seatings, and we haven't stopped since then. I
Yeah.
mean, it was an instant success. The biggest fear is, and I talk about working capital, worrying about if you're going to have enough finances to make payroll when
Right.
you first open. Not
Yeah.
everyone. And
Gets
I don't
that.
want to say I'm lucky, thank God, but
Well, you work for
every
it.
restaurant I've opened, I've always continued to have the business continue to take care of itself.
What do you think
That's
it
good.
is that was that like that key component that
That
your
ingredient,
business.
special
Yeah,
ingredient.
that special ingredient that you know. Is it the preparation? Is it the step? Is it like what is it that?
I always say, like, anything that everyone does, you got to do your own thing.
Right.
So I was focused. Everyone's like, what about this other restaurant next to you? What about the other one? When I go into my restaurant, I have blinders on.
Tunnel vision.
I don't. It's not my business what any other restaurant wants to do. I worry about what I have to do.
I agree.
And in any business, you don't look at what the other guy's doing.
Right.
You look at what you're doing, and stay focused on what you stay with your plan. Don't say, "Oh, I don't think this is working. I'm going to change my concept now." You got to stick with it. You open with that plan.
Yeah.
Don't change the concept.
It's kind of like what we do in real
I was
estate.
gonna say, it's very relatable.
I'm never watching my competition.
Yeah.
I'm focused. I'm going this way.
Correct.
But they're watching me.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And everybody
That's a compliment.
wants to do when you know that somebody's copying your thing.
Yeah,
you should
you
be
did it
honored.
right.
No, take it as a compliment.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah,
did it
so
right.
That's
we're
the thing.
definitely in the right direction when
Yes.
it comes to that.
It's the mentality of it.
So let's try to wrap this up.
Yep.
Well,
Word. Go ahead, Tora.
one last topic
Yeah.
before we move on to some fun stuff. This is fun for me, but
Yeah.
sourcing ingredients and quality.
Yeah.
I know you know, but my husband and I live a life of like there's no ingredients that you can't read that come into the house, and we like to live as clean as possible. And I think that's one of the things we appreciate so much about your restaurant. You know that you were getting fed the best
Yeah.
quality, but not only the best quality, he's so carefully curating where they're coming from. Can you
Correct.
tell us why
Absolutely.
and behind that?
Every ingredient that you use has a home. Every let's say I'm doing like a vegetable. You know, if you're using something from Italy and it comes from Italy, you use that vegetable from where
Right.
it comes from in Italy. Same with the seafood. You know,
Right.
we use all the freshest seafood. If we know that Boston cod comes from Boston,
That's where
you're
you-
buying that ingredient.
Right.
When it comes to all the ingredients, 90% of my ingredients are imported from Italy. You could buy the American style of it, but it's not
Right.
going to taste the same. And for me, it's not always about making the right profit on what you should be making. It's about making people happy.
Right.
You know, no one. It's baby steps. No one gets wealthy overnight. It's a hurdle
Right.
to get to where you want to be in life. So it's not always about if I'm going to get something, you want to make it right away. You got to take your time. Some of the margins are not where they should be in a restaurant business. But I'm not working for a big corporation that I have to answer to a
yourself,
corporate
yeah.
chef that my food cost is at 40%.
Right.
I'd be fired.
Right.
But in a family business, small restaurants is why I like small restaurants. You have the ability to do this and not worry about meeting the qualifications of food costs in a hotel, let's say, in a Ritz-Carlton,
Right.
where you have to be at 25% food costs or
It's a
you're
numbers
fired.
game. Yeah.
It's not about the numbers. It's
Right.
about making people happy.
That's amazing.
If there's a little bit left over for Kim and I to eat and do something, that's fine.
Right.
That's all we care about.
I like what you
It's
said about every
beautiful.
ingredient has a home. Like
Yeah.
you're going to get your sauce from Naples.
San
you're-
Marzano.
Right,
Yeah.
you're going to get your
Exactly. That's
fish
what I
from
wanted
any
to say was-
seashores.
yeah.
You're going to get
Right.
your wines from Tuscany,
Yeah.
right? But I got it before we to the next chapter. The big question:
Yeah.
is it sauce or is it gravy?
It's la salsa. La
salsa
salsa di pomodoro.
Yeah.
I grew up where it's sauce, it's salsa.
Yeah.
Gravy, we say, it's what we put on meat, and
Yeah.
your meatloaf and your meat. So
Right.
I don't know why people think that sauce is gravy. It's sauce.
I believe.
calls it gravy?
I think
Many
it
people
derived
call
here
it-
in America, probably the word, but I know that in Italy that doesn't exist.
No,
I mean,
no,
you've
no,
been
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
A lot of things don't exist, like we talked about. You know, the certain dishes, but everyone has their own thing. Everyone makes a meatball differently.
Yep.
You won't find the same two meatballs. My
No.
meatball's not going to taste like yours
No.
or like yours.
It's never going to taste like mine.
He doesn't have.
You don't make the meatballs.
No.
You know, he's trying to cook.
But,
in his
gravy
living
goes
room.
I'll
with beef.
clean. I'm good at cleaning up, but
Yeah.
don't rely on me
Yeah.
to feed
Okay.
you.
What do you think makes a dish stand out in terms of ingredients?
Not just simple.
Right.
You don't. You know, we don't add cheese when it shouldn't be added. You don't
Right.
add. You don't mask it with something else where it shouldn't be. You leave the best foods in Italy, and you've been there now and you've tasted, are the easiest
Simple
ingredients.
dishes.
Not 5 different sauces, 5 different ingredients
No,
I didn't
yeah.
do here in America. You know, if
That's why
you're
you're getting sick
Yeah.
too and bloated.
Nah,
and,
it's just simple. Simple, like, bistec alla griglia. That's
Right.
it. Grilled, nice arugula salad, tomato,
That's
that's
it.
it.
Right. Love
sea
that.
salt, olive oil.
Less is more.
Yeah,
Hey,
no butter. We don't use
My
butter.
simple, my go-to, and I've never had anywhere else, but your place is my go-to, my favorite, is your stuffed artichoke.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
simple.
it's so
and,
good.
and the dish is big enough for you to share it with your
Yeah.
party, but
Yeah.
I think it's the wine. I'm a dipper, so that bread that you just serve, and it's just
Scarpetta, yeah.
It's just look. If anyone's going to go to Lonnie's, it's a staple. You have to have the stuffed artichoke, and you could have it as a meal, but do yourself a favor. Start as an appetizer, share with your friends,
Absolutely,
and then pick a pasta dish.
Yeah,
because you can't go wrong.
Yeah, the carbonara we make is excellent.
So looking ahead,
yes,
what's next for Lonnie's Cucina?
Lonnie's Cucina, we are in the process now of really fine tuning the menu. We are in 2 weeks when Vittorio comes back.
Oh, he's coming back?
Coming back full time. Him and I are.
We miss him.
That's his son.
Right.
So
We're really working to really upscale the menu, more of like Michelin style, more.
Oh, I love it.
Different, different plateware. Really making it as fine as possible.
So you want to continue to piss off your competition?
Yeah, I'm doing it as fine as possible. Where you're going to have caviar, you're going to have really high end. We're going to do a happy hour at the bar with the caviar and champagne.
That's a good idea.
We're going to really offer as high end as we are, but really go and take it to the next level.
So I'm really going to be living there.
And a smaller menu. We're going to definitely shorten the menu, focus on 5 different pastas, not 10. And homemade pasta, ravioli,
Why this change? I'm just curious. What this?
We've been open 2 years now. May will be 2 years. If you don't reinvent what you're doing, not reinvent. If you don't
change it up,
sometimes people like yourselves that come there often,
sometimes
you want to see something else.
Right.
So I think 2 years is time, because I think in 2 years you definitely captured all the people that were going to come.
Yeah.
You don't want to change it after the first 6 months, because what
will
happen is something.
We want to keep them coming.
But the staples will stay on the menu.
Right.
The artichoke will stay on the menu.
Good.
The sea bass with the will stay there. Certain dishes that we know are the biggest sellers will always stay.
How about your lobster and spaghetti?
That's going
Listen,
on.
in any business, if you're not constantly rebranding or innovating, then you're not
Correct.
You're not keeping up.
It's easier to just
Never
stay.
realized that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So a lot of the top restaurants in the country always change their menus.
Yeah. So I don't know if I get special treatment, but I just have to say, I had like a bridal lunch. That was a surprise, and not on menu. Lonnie knows everything I love, Kim and Vittorio, and they had caviar. It was like Parisian
big
themed
seafood.
The langostinas, the champagne.
I miss all the good dinners.
The oysters.
It was ladies only.
I know. This was like last week.
Yeah.
But it'll be like we'll have a lot of langoustines. It's going to be like that kind of menu.
It was incredible. That was my
that was crazy.
favorite.
Yeah, it was excellent.
I can't really pick
a
favorite
was
name.
Beautiful.
Oh my God, the cake! It had boobs on it.
You made the cake?
No, I actually got it. Yeah,
gotcha.
And the decor of the room was beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Why people are listening, right? You're an entrepreneur. You created an amazing family business. Your legacy will continue with your son as well.
That's amazing.
And for all aspiring chefs or entrepreneurs, doesn't matter if you're in the business or industry or not, what advice would you give to someone looking to turn their passion for food into a career or start their own restaurant?
Yep. First of all, I think anyone in this restaurant business should know how to cook. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of restaurateurs that don't cook.
This is investors.
And they're investors, but then when your chef doesn't show up on a Saturday night and you have 200 reservations,
what do you do?
You're in trouble.
You're shit out of luck.
So the one thing that I never fear, if somebody did ever want to walk out on me on a Saturday, I could cook.
Right.
You have to know how to do everything, be a roundsman in the restaurant business. We call it back of the house, front of the house.
So you need a backup system.
If I'm not cooking, I know I could be a host in the front and I could do a dining room schedule and seat 150 people. As you have to know the whole restaurant business. Don't go into the restaurant business. Work first in a fine restaurant. Learn everything.
Learn a skill.
And then open a restaurant.
Yeah.
Don't open blind, not knowing the
That's solid advice.
Don't open blind. You work for someone first.
Right.
And work for a dominant, reputable owner like myself.
Yeah.
And I tell that to people that do want to train. We're always hiring.
Yeah.
That could come and work with me so you could learn the business. I have a young gentleman, Alex, the food runner at Trattoria, the kid Alex, he's always over.
Okay. Oh,
he's learning.
Does he live right down the road?
Yeah,
he walks there?
He walks. He works 7 days a week from 10 to 10. because he wants to make money and learn the
Right.
business.
He's got good
And
personality too.
He knows everything. He knew nothing when he worked for me at Lanni's. He moved his way up where he could be a general manager in like
incredible.
another 6 months.
Wow.
And
I,
he's
think
I actually
that's-
felt sorry for him because the
Yeah.
last when it was ladies' night, he wanted to go home and
Oh, we
he
didn't
stayed
leave.
overtime.
he stays. He
And
stays.
he was a trooper.
He was
Yeah.
committed.
yeah.
I think that's amazing advice for across all industries, even ours. I've said to people wanting to start out in real estate too, if you want to learn, if you want to get into the business, go on a team or work as an assistant or administrative assistant to a top producing agent. You want
Correct.
to learn from the best and see how it works before you do it for yourself. And it takes
Absolutely.
years and patience.
It takes years.
Yeah,
Takes years.
that's advice that works in any
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what are some common mistakes that new chefs or restaurant owners often make, and how can they avoid them?
I can't really speak for a lot of people because
In general.
In
Yeah.
general, I think it's all about the hospitality, customer service. I mean, we don't have resi, we don't go on. We're really personable. I think absent owners, restaurants, I don't like. Not that I don't like, I don't want to say that. I think absent owners, restaurants don't have that personal touch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of restaurants that no one knows me. They don't know the
Right.
owner. They
Right.
stay absent.
Exactly, right.
So for me, I like to know who owns the restaurant. I like to know the history, the breed of the
Yeah.
restaurant. When you go eat and you're going to spend money in a restaurant,
Right.
it's you want to know the resume of the restaurant.
Right.
Right.
You know, you just don't go in and go in there to just try it out. You want to know the history. Where's the chef from? Where does the food come from? What kind of reviews do they have? So you have to really know what you're doing.
Well, know who's running the kitchen.
I think
Yeah.
from sitting on
Yeah.
the other side of the table as a restaurant goer,
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
That what sets you apart is, the personal touch that you and
Correct.
Kim have on everything.
Yes, that's what we from glassware to silverware
Right.
to the liquor we choose, the wine we choose.
Right.
It's all well created.
The details,
and well
exactly.
balanced, yeah, detail.
Okay, so my last question before we go to some fun
Yep.
ending questions is this is the Off Market podcast, right?
Yes.
So Off Market for us is it's something people want but they can't have, right? It's our listings that aren't on the market yet, but we want to give them access to. Give us something off market from Lonnie's.
I don't understand.
You're
the
stumped.
question.
Like,
Off
tell
market.
us something that
That they can
not
only get
everyone
at
knows,
Lonnie's that your
or they
competition
can only
can't
hear
offer.
it from you, not
Only hear
everyone
it
else.
from me. Oh, wow, that's a tough question. Only hear it from me. I think when it comes to Lanni's, I mean, only hear it from me. God. Give me an example, like of what you're looking for.
I think your specialty dish that you
Yeah.
that you own, your signature
Yeah.
dish.
Yeah,
that
or it
you can't
could-
get
Yeah.
down
It
the
could
road.
be a fun story that happened there. Yeah.
No one does the rabbit that I do.
And let's tell them how you say rabbit in Italian.
Coniglio.
Coniglio.
Coniglio. No one does the coniglio.
How do you make your rabbit?
The rabbit is stewed
With sauce?
for 3 hours. A little bit of sauce, olives, fennel.
Yeah, it's like give
Yeah.
us a secret.
A secret.
A
I
safe
think a
secret.
is. It's a tough question. Wow, I'm stumped on that one. A secret. I mean, a secret is working seven days a week, making sure you're there, and that the food comes out right. I mean, that's one of the secrets.
Well, I
can
think
tell
it's
you.
also like
Yeah.
you said, it's customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
You and your wife are the people that they meet when they walk
Yeah.
in, and then when you're done cooking, you take your apron off and
Yeah.
you walk around every single table
Yeah.
and offer them
Yeah.
a drink and smile, and then you get to know their names.
Correct.
You remember their names, and that brings them back. Wow, the food was great, the services was amazing, the ambiance is nice. I'm going back.
Correct.
So that's probably your secret. You don't even realize it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't realize. I mean, that probably is a secret.
We
of
told
me.
you it's off market.
Yeah,
Yeah.
secret of success. I mean, it's.
I can tell you,
Yeah.
the last restaurant I went to, I couldn't tell you who owns it,
Yeah.
who the owner
Yeah.
was.
You wanna know.
If they were a manager or
Yeah.
they had who was cooking in the
If
kitchen.
they've
They
ever
had
even
some
been there, yeah.
laborers,
Yeah, it's
cooking in their
important- it's
dishes,
important.
like that you normally see in Little Italy back in the day.
Also, I've
Yeah.
been watching a lot of podcasts, reading about top entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
successful people, and the most common thing I'm hearing, which is surprising but not really, is who you're choosing as your partner in life, right? So who's next to you and how that makes you even more successful because
Support.
it's everything,
Yep.
right?
If you can't work together, I mean, and we just did an article with married couples in the business with Lohud magazine. She interviewed Kim and I, and what is the successes of being married and working together. And it's all about, making sure we get along. I don't step on her toes.
Right.
She doesn't step on mine. And at home, we don't try to talk about the business.
Right.
So we
That's
try to-
really good advice.
That's
Yeah.
about the other advice.
Yeah, take it
And-
home. It's challenging. It has to be
And if they-
challenging.
I have a little surprise coming in.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
So-
Here we are.
Thanks,
Oh, look at
babe.
this.
Get bella.
So
Oh,
this-
there it is.
Hire me?
Yeah.
That's it. That's beautiful Il Pigione, one of the best producers.
This.
So tell us about
you
this.
taught
Yeah.
me this wine.
Yeah, we have that on our list. Yeah.
This is, I think this is the first Brunello I had at your restaurant.
Yep,
But you
yep.
tell us about
Sick.
it.
I'll let you do the honor.
Thanks, B.
Il Pigione, 2017, the Il Pigione Brunello. This is one of the most popular producers, very small producer. But the 17 is a great vintage. There's years that work well with Italy. Believe it or not, a lot of the odd years, wines taste best. 18,
Really?
no good.
Really?
Really?
19, great.
Why?
because
that
it's
like
17, great.
Has to do with the
16,
rain, the
terrible.
season?
16, terrible.
is that a superstition or it's just like
I don't know what it is,
I don't
but
know.
there could be a weather pattern that, like 16 was so hot
Right.
that the grapes are finicky. They don't like a lot of heat.
Oh, I thought they did.
It has to cool at night.
Gotcha.
That's why they're up in the mountains at night. It
Cool,
goes
right.
from 90
Huge
degrees
temperatures,
to
yeah.
50. That's why California wines are all in the valley.
Right.
The breeze comes in from the Sonoma and they
Yeah.
cool off the grapes. They like fog. So,
Wow.
here
So
you are.
this says in Porcio. Isn't that the winery we visited in Tuscany?
Il Pigione.
Poggio?
Porcio, isn't it?
You may have went.
No.
Where'd you go? Poggio Toscano.
Amarello Porcio.
Oh no,
in
I
Tuscany.
don't know it. No, sorry.
We actually had a wine. They came to
Yeah.
America from Italy, and we had
We
a
love them.
wine tasting event with them. It was fun. Don't worry about the
Also,
drops.
we don't. We will link or write down all of the wines we spoke about,
Yeah.
so you guys.
And
can,
if you ever want to do a wine pairing tasting,
I would-
I do that well.
you know what we.
we,
I
we,
just
we can do this here.
You know
This
what
is
I
the
just said
space here.
yesterday
What'd you say?
with
Yeah.
our title company, our
Yeah.
title guy. We want to have like a private wine
We'll
tasting
do
here.
a wine
All right, let's
tasting,
do that.
okay?
All right, so
Salud. Thank you for having me. And I know we have a couple other
This is how
questions.
it ended the
And
Well, no,
everyone listening, it's an honor if you've been to our restaurants. I appreciate it, and thank you for really.
guys,
really
it's not
supporting us.
over.
All
I have
right, thank
rapid
you.
questions. Drink your
You're not
wine.
going that easy.
You're gonna need your wine for these rapid questions, and I
right.
swear you could get back to the restaurant.
Yep.
He's itching to
I'm
get
open
back.
for lunch.
Wow, this is
Kitchen.
very delicious.
Delicious, excellent.
Yeah.
And 17 is great.
It's beautiful.
So it's every odd year. Is a
That's
good year.
what I'm finding being some
So
of the
the
best
even
years.
numbers don't buy.
Even numbers and Matt, like
This is Lonnie's
the best
method.
wine is for Italy.
Well, if you're into
1997.
wines, you might not appreciate.
you
find
it. If
97
you're really
vintage-
not into wines, you may
Yeah.
not even see the difference.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna ask rapid questions, and
Yep.
both of you can answer.
Yeah.
And these aren't long answers. Okay. What is your go-to comfort food?
Chinese food.
Huh?
Italian.
I love Chinese
Yeah,
food.
my favorite
Italian.
food.
He doesn't let us eat Chinese.
Yeah,
food.
if anyone-
Only
I
Italian.
I could have Italian all week
Not me.
long.
If I had to pick, if I had to not eat again tomorrow, it would be Chinese, not Italian.
We're actually
Me
going to my
too.
wife's
Yeah,
I
birthday.
love
Chinese.
Chinese.
This
Yeah, we're
weekend.
going on Sunday to.
Where?
Oh my God, it's in Manalapan.
You would love this place in Manalapan.
Is it? I'll
yeah,
take a ride on it.
Peking
Come with us.
Peking
You wanna join us?
Pavilion.
Pekin Pavilion.
It
okay.
is fucking incredible.
And speaking of what you said earlier, the homeowner walks around.
Yep.
The homeowner,
She's like
excuse me,
80-something,
the owner
beautiful.
of the establishment, and
In
she,
her kimono.
she came. She bought us an after dinner drink, and she was probably running that restaurant for over 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you can definitely relate to that.
Jade is
And I'll
her
say the
name.
food was great. I loved it, but at the end of the day, I'm all about
Oh, they
Italian
have
food.
There's one
different-
out west. Have you been to
That's
the
what
one?
I think. That's what it is.
The one it looks like a Chinese,
Yeah,
not in
that's-
Manalapan, New Jersey. It's out west. It's by like Greenwood Lake.
No.
I don't know.
This looks like a glorified diner on the outside.
No,
but
it
it's
is
huge on the
incredible.
inside.
Like they have like filet mignon egg rolls.
I'll
like,
get you the
different.
name of the one out
Perfect.
here too.
I'll give
so
you
it's
this
I'll link
closer.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, your comfort food. Obviously.
Italian.
But what dish?
Shame on you.
What
Yeah.
dish?
Anything Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except Parmesans. I'm not
Yeah,
big
you're
on
not
Parmesan.
yeah,
Me
you don't
either.
like cheese.
I
I
never
take
eat
the
it.
actual cheese off.
I don't eat
like
it. Yeah.
All right. If you could have dinner with any chef, past, present, dead, alive, who would it be and why?
I think one of the most brilliant men around is that Stanley Tucci. You know,
Really?
I love his show.
I read his book.
Oh, really?
I'm in the process. I'm almost finished.
What's the
it.
book?
And the book of the beginning about his life. I was reading and I'm saying, this is my life.
Wow.
But he wasn't always a chef, right?
He's been like he's worked at some places but he not even chef. Like there's a lot of chefs that are great. Like I loved Mario Batali.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
I've been
great.
to his
I mean,
restaurants.
whatever happened personally with him.
Yeah.
Shame.
But as far as his cooking, it's like my cooking.
Right.
I would watch the network just to watch him because he cooks real Italian.
Yeah.
And Stanley Tucci's book was my life growing up.
Really?
Well, he
He
has
would
the
bring
Netflix
lunchbox.
series.
He would talk about how he'd bring like veal cutlet Milanese
Oh
sandwiches.
my God, I love
Yes.
it.
For
In
lunch.
Jersey,
My-
when I went in Richfield, I would bring, my mom would make me meatball sandwiches and watching a kid eat peanut butter and jelly with bananas.
right.
No, my mom packed prosciutto mozzarella
Yeah,
on
see, you're
semolina for my
lucky.
brother.
I worked with my father in construction every summers, during school, and we would have homemade sandwiches, with prosciutto sandwiches, mozzarella, or meatballs, eggplant, whatever, and a bottle of homemade wine.
Yeah.
I didn't realize back in the day. Here we are sitting in the streets of doing sidewalks that we break for lunch, and we were drinking wine.
Yeah.
We got a lot
We
of
were
trouble
allowed.
today.
No one drank it
But
to
it was
get
nothing.
drunk. We drank it to be casual.
Right.
Right, like
No one power
that's why
drank.
there's
Right,
no,
when
like-
I became a drinking age, and I was
Yeah.
drinking wine, it was no big deal to me because I
Yeah.
drank wine every day at home.
Yep.
And that's how Italy.
In the water. In the
Yeah,
water.
in the
Right.
water,
Yep.
exactly. So that's funny. It's
Yeah, we were drinking since we were 5 years old.
and it was
wine.
nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
my great grandfather, we'd be at the dinner table and we'd be like 12. He'd give us
Yep.
sip
Oh,
wine.
he
You gotta
despised
learn.
if
You
had
gotta learn the wine.
water.
You gotta
yeah,
taste the
and
wine.
they'd be
Yep.
like,
And he would get so mad if we drank water. We had to
Yeah.
have wine.
And he'd be like, they can't do
God
that.
bless
They're
my
12.
father, man.
And he'd get mad. He'd be like, they
Yes.
have to chase
And
the
I'm like,
wine.
why don't you drink water? Because what does water do to boats? I'm like, I don't know. It rusts the bottom of a
Yeah.
boat. I'm like, it's not really like that. You need water.
Yeah, he was insane. This
Yeah,
guy.
Yes, he
yeah.
was.
All right, what is the one ingredient you couldn't live without in your kitchen?
The one ingredient I couldn't live without is, I would say, is definitely pasta. I mean, you got to have either spaghetti and a can of pomodoro,
Yeah.
marzana, and garlic. You got to make an extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
This way, if you're ever hungry, you want to make a quick pomodoro,
Yeah,
that's it.
easy,
And-
simple.
I don't
and garlic and
cook,
oil and,
so I would say
and,
cherry, my wife.
anchovies. And
Anchovies.
To make garlic,
I love
anchovy,
anchovies.
aioli, midnight pasta, mezzanotte.
You know what I want?
Really?
Yeah, the mezzanotte. Like,
I like
think
that.
about when we grew up. When we
Yeah.
came home, we'd be like, Mom, I'm coming over with
We
my
had the
friends at
munchies.
1
Yeah.
o'clock.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
mom would make spaghetti aioli,
Oh,
garlic
wow,
and oil.
I love that.
That's
a
why
quick
it's called
go-to.
pasta mezzanotte on my menu.
All right,
Oh, I
we're
like that.
coming in.
Mezzanotte means midnight.
Right.
Right.
So when you got home, there was ingredients like you asked me in the refrigerator: anchovies, garlic, olive oil, and pasta.
And what kind of pasta?
Spaghetti.
always
Always
spaghetti?
twirl.
Right.
Always
Yeah.
a twirl pasta. And the mezzanotte is made that way. And,
Mezzanotte.
that's an old school 1, 2, 3. Let's go. We would go to a wedding and the food wasn't good. We'd come home and make my mother and father would be like, all right, andiamo, we got to go home, make spaghetti aioli.
Oh, I love
I'll
it.
go to his pastina. To this
Pastina.
day,
Yeah.
Till all my little
I'm
kids
not
grew up
feeling
on it.
well.
Every flight
still-
I come home from, I still have pastina.
Yeah, you do egg and cheese in your pastina.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do egg, the beaded egg,
Right.
the pastina, and formaggio.
Oh, wait a
Done.
minute. I actually can cook that. When my wife wasn't feeling good, that's
He
the
had
one
to
dish
do
I
it
made.
when she had the
Of course,
flu.
it's on the phone, give me the directions how to do, but I think I kind of kicked it, and I did really good on that.
And
We
when
walked
you
him
do
through
have
it.
children one day, make sure they're eating pastina. The first thing they start eating, because
Obviously.
they'll love it.
Well,
That's-
Michael says-
That's a comfort food.
Michael
Yeah.
says the first food he wants to give our child is a ribeye.
Yeah. Well, then you'd say, yeah.
But there you go. That's your off-market information.
Yes.
So next time we come into film, you're gonna make mezzanotte.
Mezzanotte, the best.
like
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, and we're each gonna say our favorite dish at Lonnie's. I know you said.
Well, mine's
artichoke bake.
definitely- it's a
You have
starter.
to say something else, and then we'll move on.
I can't stop thinking of last summer.
Thank you.
The season I had the spaghetti and the lobster tail.
Yeah, that's a South African lobster. We split it for you and Sherry. I
Yeah.
remember like it was yesterday.
What was
You
it?
sat on
Oh, the
table
spaghetti
17.
and lobster.
I took a
Yeah.
picture of it, of course.
We have the pocket eagle and lobster at Trattoria. So what we do is after we cook the 1.5 pound lobster, we keep the shells, and it's like making a Jersey crab sauce. When
Right.
you used to make the crab sauce,
Oh,
you used
wow.
to cook the crabs in the sauce.
Right, right.
So we take the bodies of the lobster, and we
For the
cook
flavor.
it in a tomato sauce, and then we take the bodies out because the bodies, if you don't use them, people throw them out. I make a sauce with it, a ragu. So that's what we have at Trattoria with lobster meat. And pacchetti is a Neapolitan pasta. Pacchetti in Naples means un schiaffo. Like if you're not
Slap,
good,
right.
if you're no good, you have to do un pacchetti. Ti faccio
Pacchetti.
pacchetti. So it's the size of like at your hand. It's a big rigatoni. Not this big, but it's like this.
Okay.
That's why
Well,
pacchetti,
that's my
the word
go-to. It's
pacchetti
delicious.
derives.
Oh, I like that.
All of our pastas we use come from Gragnano.
Gragnano.
Gragnano is
that
a
a region?
region of Naples that grows the best wheat.
Okay.
And we use Gentile. They dry their pasta for 3 days before they
Is Gentile the
Gentile
company?
is the name of the company. Gentile. It's
We'll link
Gentle.
all of this.
very,
Right.
very
Yeah.
pricey. Not pricey. It's about $8 a pound
Right.
versus $2.
Well, it's
for
quality.
checkout.
You're getting quality.
And when you cook this pasta, it stays al dente from start to
Oh,
finish.
I love that. So
Start to finish.
you're not eating anything that's not top quality
Yeah,
at
that's
Lanni.
that.
You didn't mention your go-to, your
I
favorite.
I did. Well, can you guess what mine is?
Tell me, I don't know.
The carbonara.
Carbonara. Yes, we made it for you on that
The
show
first-
last time, the video. And
I think it's the
yeah.
guanciale.
Yeah, the
Oh my
guanciale.
God.
You know, there's so many restaurants that really don't use the authenticity of the word
Yeah,
carbonara.
Tell
Why don't we
people,
tell the audience what guanciale is?
Yeah, and tell people the
One-
difference
yeah.
between pancetta and guanciale. And if you're using pancetta, you're a fake.
Pancia in Italian means stomach.
Right.
So it's rolled of the pork belly without the skin.
Is it like not the lining?
It's
that's
no,
like a
it's,
tripa.
that's tripe. But
Tripe.
pancetta is pork belly, and guanciale is from the cheek of
Yeah.
the pork. So guanciale is also not smoked like bacon.
Right.
So a lot of these restaurants use bacon and egg.
No.
Guanciale has one particular flavor. This dish derives from Rome. Rome created this carbonara, and it's just egg yolk, pecorino, and the
Cheese.
guanciale, the oil from the
Simple.
guanciale. No cream.
Nope.
No cream. The water from the pasta makes the cream.
Oh, yeah, I remember you showed me last
Yeah,
time.
and as the pasta has a lot of starch in it, right? So as you cook your pasta in the sauce, we always finish our pasta in the
Yeah.
sauce for about 5 minutes before we go to the plate, because pasta
You taught me that.
lets out starch, and that's what makes it creamy.
Yeah.
Does it blow up as well?
It keeps cooking. We
Expand
take it
it,
out
right.
al dente, and then finish it in the sauce. So the starch goes in the sauce and makes it thick.
So it's like a real
So
science to
if
cooking.
you're having carbonara with bacon, cream, or pancetta,
You're
you're,
in the wrong
having
place.
a fraudulent dish.
Run.
Yeah, run.
and you need to pair with a good red wine.
Yes,
Right?
red wine. I would stick with a Roman wine from that region, a Tintilla, something from there. Yep.
Oh, I was watching a master class like a while ago. Thomas Keller did a little aglio olio.
Yep.
But with botarga.
Yeah, Botarga is a
Do
great.
you have that on your?
Yes, I have Botarga at Trattoria and
I
at
need to
Lanni's.
have yours.
Yeah, so Botarga di Mungine. Mungine is a certain fish that is from Sardinia. So Sardinia, all right, sorry. So you're from Sardinia, is Botarga. And
Perfect.
you grate it on, it's the
Yeah.
dried fish sack of tuna.
Right.
And you shave it on pasta. I'll make that for you next
I
time.
want that. You
The
make
best.
it.
Oh, we
I,
had this in
so I
Sicily.
bought it
It's
in
simple.
Milan. Yeah.
Yeah, we bought it
I
in
bought
Sicily.
botarga in Milan.
Yeah.
It's really
Oh,
fishy.
I didn't unpack my luggage
Yeah.
yet. It was on the floor. Michael's like, "What the hell does Chi-Chi have in her mouth?" She found the botarga,
forgot it.
ate
Did you get it
through
out of her mouth?
Yeah, and then I still made it,
Yeah,
but
good.
I want yours.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
thank
very
you.
can shave it on
fishy,
anything.
isn't it? It's
All right,
very
so
fishy.
we're gonna
Yeah.
pimp out
It's fish
Kim
roe.
and
Dried.
we're gonna pimp out Kim and
Yep.
Vittorio.
Yep.
We're gonna tag all of their information. Trattoria di Vittoria is in Piermont.
Yeah, 453 Piermont Avenue.
And that is your pizza, your brick
Yep.
oven, your Naples, your rustic feel casual. And then Lanni's Cucina Verace in
it.
Sparkill.
645 Main Street.
And we'll tag all of it.
Thank
Make
you.
sure you come. We'll get you the
Yep.
wines that he spoke about. And we'll probably have episode 2.
And if you come and you mention that you saw this
Podcast.
Yeah.
you get homemade limoncello.
Oh, look at
at
that.
the end of dinner.
Nice.
Look at
Okay.
that. Homemade
All
limoncello.
right, just mention that you saw the podcast and you got limoncello at the end of the dinner.
There we go. So say you watched Off Market
Yes,
with Lonnie.
Off Market. Thank
Grazie.
you so much for having
Salute.
me.
Grazie.
Salute.
Cheers. The
Thank you
real
so
deal.
much. Grazie. Thank you.
That was great.
Good.